Hey, money planners. Welcome. This is Malika Daniels with Women Who Money Plan, and I am a money coach who helps women to achieve their financial dreams. I am here today with Money Plan Conversations, and I do these interviews with different people in the finance field or anyone that can help with your finances. So today I'm here with Stephen Williams with Cannon Insurance. So welcome, Stephen.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to let Stephen introduce himself and then we'll get started with asking him a bunch of questions all about insurance. All right, Stephen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Stephen Williams, Cannon Insurance. I have been doing this now for a little over a decade, which is hard to even imagine. I do all things insurance: home, auto, business, life, and health. And in each line, since I'm a broker, in each line I have I would say about 10 carriers minimum. And some carriers like life insurance, I have a max of 50 carriers.
Wow. Okay,
So
can you tell everybody a little bit about what that means to be an insurance broker?
So there's two types of insurance agents. I say three, but really there's two types of insurance agents. You have captive and you have independent. Captive agents are your State Farms, all states. They just sell for one company. I am independent, so that means I can go through a slew of different companies. So my aim and focus is not simply to protect the insurance company, but more so the client. If one company's not giving us the answer we want, we can go to a different one.
I love that. And I think that's why it's so important for people to work with brokers. So again, how many different companies is it that you have available to you?
Oh man, probably over close to 200.
Wow.
It
Okay.
depends on the industry. We have at least 15 on homeowners, probably 10 on auto. Then there's specialty products like we have vacant homes and rental homes and classic cars. And you can imagine that we have a whole separate slew of things for commercial lines, whether it be, um, uh, I'd say workers' comp to general liability, business owners policy, liquor liability, criminal insurance or crime insurance as they call it, and there's so many other kinds of insurance.
Okay. Wow. So one of the things that I'm wondering is that here you hear a lot of people talking about insurance is so high, it costs so much. When you're
Mhm.
pricing out, let's say car insurance for somebody, is there a big difference that you'll see in price amongst different companies? Or right now,
Yes,
is it all
yeah.
pretty much kind of the same, or can it really range?
Oh, definitely. So in that, and that's also too what's what makes it so good to be a broker is every company has their own niche. So one company might be looking for people who have teen drivers. The next company says, "Yeah, we don't like that. We're gonna upcharge that." The next company says, um, we're looking for people over 65. Some people say, no, we want people in the 25 to 65. And I'll tell you, that's a big difference between captive and independent. A lot of captives, they want very cookie cutter stuff. They want people with good credit, no accidents and tickets, nobody under 25, above 65. That's kind of their sweet spot of how they make their money. When you're
Okay.
independent, I look, the client gives me their information, I ask them questions, they give me their information, and that helps me identify what product's going to be best for them.
Oh, I love that. I've never even thought of that aspect of it, that those captive companies, they only really want one specific client. So it makes sense they're probably giving these crazy high quotes to other
Oh
people
yeah.
because that's not who they really want as a client. But for you, you know the industry and can figure out, well, this company is going to be great for this client and their needs. So that's a really cool aspect of it that I've never even thought of. I love that. What got you started in insurance?
So I was going to Kennesaw State. I was the president of the pre-law club at the time. I had wanted to be a lawyer since I was about 7 years old, and I was on that way to do that. And when I was working with the pre-law club, we set up a panel of different legal professionals, and I kept hearing from lawyers over and over and over, you need to get into sales. You need to get into sales. You need to get into sales. They said the two things you need to do: get into sales, speak Spanish. So I said, I'll work on the Spanish. I took 2 years of that. But as far as the sales aspect, I had never been in sales before.
Mhm.
And so I just applied everywhere. And the three opportunities I got was a banker inside of a Kroger,
Okay.
insurance agent, and door to door with Scott's Lawn Care. And the
Mm.
banker one, I wasn't a big fan of. And that bank, funny enough, actually went out of business. Big bank,
Okay.
or best bank. So good decision there.
Right.
And then I thought about the seasons changing and didn't want to be outside when it's freezing. So I said,
True.
I'll try this insurance thing. I hadn't heard, good stuff about the profession, but I'll see what it's like. And the cool thing about it is every human being is different in the field they operate in. So your character determines the industry does not determine your character. Your character determines how you're going to operate in that industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I went the insurance route. I worked for somebody for a while and decided to go my own route.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that how you transitioned into that field. So insurance is so important. I feel like there's just, as you know, there's so many different types of insurance and so many reasons that someone might need insurance. So my question is, what are some of the main life circumstances when people end up coming to you and be like, okay, I need insurance or I need to look at my insurance? What are some of those big things that happen?
I'll give you a pretty cool one I just did. So I've never done anything like this. I got somebody that's coming to me that wants to set up for kids' birthday parties, and what he does is he has fire trucks. So
Okay.
I always thought that's marketing in and of itself. When you see a fire truck coming down the street, you're wondering what's going on. Is there a fire
Mhm.
or something like that? So all the guy does is just show up at people's houses with a fire truck. But in this particular situation, he somebody else owned the business that I was already insuring, and then he took over the business, so I had to
Okay.
insure it under new ownership. But there are so many different things that happen.
So
I
for that, I'm hearing people looking to start a business should talk to an
Yes,
insurance broker,
yes,
right? Okay. That's good to
yep.
know.
So people starting a business. I'll give you a funny one. I get pretty common situations. A friend calling for a friend to get, somebody recommended somebody to me for insurance.
Mhm.
But the interesting ones that I really like, I have people sometimes that'll get pulled over by the police. They realize that they don't have insurance right now.
Ooh.
And so and so they'll say, "Hey, I need insurance." And you'll hear the police officer in the background talking, and they're like, "I'm just talking to my agent right now, trying to get that insurance straightened out."
Oh my goodness. I would have
And
never thought of
if
that.
even if it's on the weekend, like I don't try to work every single weekend, but if somebody's in that kind of situation, I like kind of being the hero and helping people with whatever's going
Right.
on.
That is awesome. All right. So obviously people are coming to you for car insurance, business insurance, home insurance, rental
Life
insurance, life
life
insurance.
insurance.
So
Yep.
what are some of what's your main cup of tea? I know you do it all, but is there something that's like the majority of your clients are wanting this? What would that be?
Right. So I would say our biggest bulk is we talk with loan officers. When somebody goes to buy a home, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing they do is they say, "Well, I want to go buy this house. Well, now I need the money, so I need to talk to a loan officer. Well, now I need
Yep.
somebody to represent me. I get the realtor. Well, in order to close the deal, the bank wants the house insured. Need the
Yes.
insurance agent. So, as the insurance agent, my main prospects and people I talk to are usually realtors, or
Okay.
realtors and loan officers.
Loan officers. And I feel like I've known you for a while now, so I've heard a few stories about people who were trying to buy a home and they needed to get their escrow price to a certain amount. And as an insurance agent, you've been able to kind of help navigate that. Can you tell maybe a quick story about how you've helped people to get into their home that they might not have been able to get into without your support?
Yeah, so loan officers call this DTI, so debt to income ratio. So when you go buy the house, and for whatever reason, most people when they go buy a house and they say, "Okay, you get $400,000 to buy a house," people say, "I'm going to use all $400,000 to buy that house." Well, that creates a situation where if they're very tight on their numbers, the insurance, I mean, a couple of dollars, I've had it be like $1 or $2 off. Like if their monthly premium is $160 a month, um, or they can't go any higher than $160 a month,
Mm.
and they've tried State Farm and State Farm's at 172 a month. I have to get 160 or lower. And so by having so many different companies, and again, we even have companies that don't run credit score, which is crazy,
Oh,
but
okay.
they don't even run credit score. So if I see consecutively that when I run through all the different carriers, the rate is really, really high, but there's no claims, there's no anything else that I can see. They're not in a bad neighborhood, they're not having any sort of problems whatsoever. It can be a credit score a lot of the time. And then that tells me, okay, go to a company that doesn't run credit score. And what do you know? Now it's 75% less.
Right. So that's important to know. Your credit score is going to affect the rate that you get on insurance. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, in the state of Georgia, yes. Some states say it's illegal. I think out
Oh,
West Coast,
interesting.
they say it's illegal to use credit score, but for whatever reason, I think the majority of states do run on credit score.
Okay. Speaking of that, what states can you operate in?
So I can do every state that touches Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, plus Texas, Michigan, and this is like an outlier because I do life insurance here oddly a lot. Kansas.
Okay. All right. And then if someone is listening that's outside of those states, do you have any people that you work with or send people to if someone comes to you that's not in your jurisdiction?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can the cool thing about what I do, I can get a quote from other states. And if I don't represent that state yet, and you say, yeah, I really like this, let's do it. All I got to do, there's a website I go to. I just have to pay the money to get the license, and then I can start
Oh.
representing you in that state.
Okay. So, I'm from Chicago back in Illinois. So if someone's watching this and they decide they want to give you a shot and have you run some numbers for them and they find something that they like, you can still help them get set
Yep.
up by just
Yep.
okay, that's
Yes.
really good. That's good to know. All right. One of my favorite things to do is to save money, right? As a money coach. And in one of our meetings together, you were talking about all these different discounts that are out there when it comes to insurance. And that just blew my mind because most of us do not know this world, right? And you know all the ins and outs and the tricks that people do not know. So, can you share with us some of the different discounts that people can get on maybe like their car insurance or home insurance?
I will tell you one of the, and I'm training my agents to remember this. One of the biggest discounts that people always leave off, you'll see other experienced agents leave this off, even advanced buying discount. So whatever
Advanced.
day you start the insurance and start it 7 days before the actual start date, and you get an advanced buying discount. On your auto, that can be, I mean, it's a percentage. So $20 off, $30 off. If you got a lot
Okay.
of accident tickets, you're with Progressive, that might be $100 off a month. I mean, it could vary pretty widely. Um, People all the time, is it cheaper if I put my kid on his own policy, or
Mm,
what if I um, put him on my policy versus put him on his own policy? Well, it's always going to be cheaper to put him on your policy because
okay.
multi-policy discount,
Yes.
multi-driver, multi-vehicle. Mom sometimes, a lot of times, is a homeowner. So now the son is getting a homeowner's discount that he would not be getting by himself. There's
Oh,
all
okay.
those that it's almost always more advantageous. Now, that changes if mom has a lot of accidents and tickets,
Mm,
but the new
mhm.
driver does not. That could potentially make a difference, but outside of that, usually it's cheaper for the kid to be on the parents.
Okay, that's good to know. So is the advanced, say that again, advanced what?
Advanced bind
Advanced
discount.
buying discount and then having multiple people on the insurance. What about the bundling? Is that a big saver for people, bundling home and auto and all those kind of
W-
things together?
I'm glad you actually mentioned that because I got an interesting one that as of yesterday is new about that. So yes, home and auto is always cheaper to bundle together.
Okay.
But I got a new company, Branch Insurance, that will almost give away a life insurance policy by bundling home and auto together. Now,
Wow.
now the only downside to this company, your home cannot be older than 10 years old right now.
Oh, okay. So it's only
So
for
if your
newer
home
homes.
is newer than 10 years, and your driving record is relatively clean, you
Mhm.
probably have a couple incidences on there I say in a 5 year period. But if things are looking pretty clean between those things, yeah, you pretty much get a life insurance policy for free almost.
Wow. So what would happen if during that time you're with them, your house ages, right? Every year it's getting a little bit older and older.
Doesn't
Can you
matter,
still
you're
stay
locked
on that
in.
policy? You're locked in no
Mhm.
matter how. That's amazing.
They're going to reopen it. It used to be they would do up to 1940s houses. The market got kind of crazy. People were making all these claims. But it's the market's starting to head back in that direction. Insurance companies are figuring out new ways to insure people better, where
Mm,
they can
mhm.
make enough money to stay operating, but at the same time take care of the customer for whatever they need.
Okay.
It's the market's getting a lot better in insurance.
All right, that's good to know. I have a question about life insurance. So, at what point in someone's life do you feel like it's important for them to get life insurance, and how do
Mhm.
you recommend that they figure out how much life insurance they need?
So, a couple things. First off, if you have a young kid, that's definitely you want term insurance. At least a minimum, I would say
Hmm.
you want term insurance. So the term insurance is going to be for the life of the kid. Or people, sometimes people, if they don't have any children, they want to have it for the life of their mortgage. If something happens, they want the mortgage paid off for the other spouse. That's actually what I do personally. Um, and you asked me a question. I forgot.
So,
You,
yeah, it was like, at what stage do they need life insurance? So, definitely if you have a child, and
yeah,
I know like if you have any, like if you're married and you have a spouse that's depending on your income or something like that as well, right?
right. So I have a calculator that I'll look at. I'll look at things like if you have any sort of debt, if you have a mortgage, if you have any student loan debt, if we determine how long we want to replace your income for if something were to happen.
Hmm.
Trying to think if there's anything else. You have any car loan debt, um, burial expense costs,
Hmm.
but those would probably be the main things that I would look at in determining how much life insurance you need.
All right. What about, since you mentioned burial, do you do anything with burial insurance if someone just
I
wants
do.
enough to cover burial?
Yeah, and it's pretty inexpensive. I'd
Mhm.
say you could probably get, I have to look at the rates, but you'd probably get about 50,000 for about $50 a month or less,
Okay.
maybe
Yeah.
$20 a month, depending on age, of course.
Okay. So I feel like that's a good option for someone that maybe can't afford full life insurance or doesn't need full life
Yep.
insurance, at least getting the burial insurance. So
I'll
that's
tell
good
you
to know.
something. I want to add something really quickly to that
Yeah.
too. I don't sell a lot of permanent because it's expensive. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people kind of already know that or
Yeah.
assume that, and it's true. But there is an in between. So if you want something better than term, but you don't want something expensive as permanent
Hmm.
or whole life insurance, there's something in the middle called universal. And
Okay.
universal works in such a way that we say, okay, we guarantee that you're gonna get an amount paid for until you're 110, which the idea is you're not expected to live till 110.
Right.
But let's say you're paying this, and something happens. Oh, I don't know what to do. I lost my job. Something happens. Well, if you pay this certain amount, if you at any time could drop it, it will decrease. Now it starts to become like a term policy. Instead of lasting till 110 years old, it now lasts till you're 70, 60 years old.
Mm, but you're
Okay, you got
paying
a
less
job
now?
again. Say again.
But you're paying less now, and then that's why it
Yep.
decreases?
Yep.
Okay.
And so it starts to decrease. The term of the insurance, instead of lasting until 110, it now only lasts till you're 70 years old. Now it becomes a
Okay.
term policy instead of a whole life.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? You got a job again. If things are going good again, you can overpay. Okay, jumps it right back up to that 110-year-old
Oh.
mark.
So it's
So it
variable.
kind of it fluctuates as you need it to.
Yeah.
If you overpay into it, you can actually accumulate what do you call it? We're not supposed to say in insurance that it's a investment product. I
Mm.
would just say that it will grow at a rate of interest if you put
Okay.
more than what you're supposed to in it.
Right. Okay.
So it's kind of like a flexible do whatever you need it to do kind of policy.
Right. Alright, that's good to know. I mean, I typically recommend people to try to stay away from whole or
Yep.
permanent insurance unless they have lots of money available to them and then they want
Right.
to go that route. But for most people, I know that term is typically the best suited for them. But that's cool that there's also this avenue of universal, which is in the middle. So that's really good to know. What's one thing that surprised you about about selling insurance? Is there anything that just completely shocked you once you got into this field that you were
I
not
never thought I
expecting
would do
to do?
this.
Yeah.
Almost every single person you talk to in the industry says, I never thought I would do this.
Mhm.
Um, Another big difference is a lot of industries, people are competing against each other. Insurance agents are always, even if they're competing, they're always helping each other. It's like
Oh,
one of the
okay.
friendliest, nicest industries. People are very nice. It's a very good industry to work in.
All right, that's good. I mean, it does make sense. You don't hear little kids saying, "I want to be an insurance agent when I grow up," right? So it makes sense. That's not what you thought you would get into, but it's really cool to hear that the people that are in the field are really just about trying to help other people and help each other. So that's really cool.
I had a
Um,
I had a I had a insurance agent one time. He did very, very well. Um, he's a State Farm agent, and he said he has a little daughter and she's going to school. And I said, "Are you going to do this?" And his literal response was, "I don't think this is a very sexy industry." He said that's what the girl said to the father or something like that.
Right.
It's not a very attractive industry. And I was like,
Right.
it's just funny.
Yeah, that is funny. All right, so is there anything else that you think people need to know about you and your insurance company or just insurance in general that you wanna make sure you put out there?
Sure. Just that we have so many different options.
Mhm.
Um, we've been doing it for quite a long time. There, we have grown from myself. I started when I say I started small. A lot of people, their parents owned an agency, and then their grandparents, and then the parents, and then the
Mhm.
kid. I started literally in my wife's mom's basement, and grew from there to getting us an apartment, to getting us a house, to getting married, to now we got 2 locations,
Yeah.
5 agents, and a customer service person now.
Wow, so you completely
And
grew this
so
business. Yeah.
I think the way that we handle people's insurance is people are saying, "Hey, go to that guy. I'm tired of being ignored. Agent ignores me, never calls me back." We have callback same day rule, text them minimum, and something different is I think people don't like to make excuses if they are busy as agents, but at the
Mm.
same time, people want to know that they are heard. And I
Mhm.
think that's what kind of is a very big difference from us and a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is at the very minimum, we say, "Hey, listen, I hear you. I cannot get to you this very second because we're slammed, but I have not forgotten you. I'm going to get this done."
Yeah, that's great.
And,
I
and
just thought
that's
of
what
something
people,
else that might be good for people to know. So, when they're working with a broker like yourself and you are giving them access to all these different companies, let's say they decide to go with like Progressive or something like that. Once they're with that policy, if they have an issue or a question, do they contact you or are they contacting
yep,
Progressive? Mhm.
they're going to contact me. I think that's another big plus too.
Yeah.
People are tired of calling that 1-800 number and getting some new person, and then okay, this person didn't handle my problem, so now I moved on to the next person, and you got to start all over with this one. I don't know how it is, how my brain works this way, but when you call me and you tell me your problem, I won't forget it until it's done,
Mhm.
until it's solved.
I love that. I love that no matter which company they're going through, they can always come back to you and know that they're going to have that person answer the phone, and not have to, yeah, do that 1-800 number and all those kind of things. So I think that's a really good draw for working with a broker as well. That's awesome. All right, Stephen, can you tell the listeners how they can reach you if they did want to work with you and get some insurance quotes?
Yes. So a couple ways you can reach me. If you go to the website, it is Canon, CANON, Advisors. Advisors is spelled with an E, ADVISERS.com. So canonadvisors.com. You can call us at 404-246-1150. Option 2, you will get me directly, or you can email me SJW, so stands for Stephen John Williams, SJW 321 at live.com.
All right. And I'll put all that information in the notes. So if anyone's looking to contact you, I highly recommend Stephen. He has helped me with all of our insurance needs, from our rental properties and everything that we have going on. So a great contact to have. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining in to Money Plan Conversations.
All right, this has been fun. Thank you.
Thanks.